Welcome to the Tuesday, January 9th edition of This Week in South Carolina in Session. I'm Gavin Jackson. We just recapped the first day of the legislative session here at the State House in Columbia. And debate and action centered around two primary topics today, one of which stemmed from the governor's vetoes that he sent to lawmakers last June, primarily the vetoes dealing with $20.5 million for school bus funding. Other actions centered around debate over what to do about the VC Summer nuclear power plant project expansion. However, we didn't see too much action on that today, but just a lot of talk. But first, let's get right into what happened today here in the State House. 5 new House members were sworn in by Speaker Jay Lucas on Tuesday. Representative Wendy Brawley, a Hopkins Democrat from House District 70. She took over after Representative Joe Neal died earlier last year. And Representative Bruce Bryant from District 48 is a former sheriff who won the seat when former Representative Ralph Norman of Rock Hill left to run for the 5th Congressional District seat. Representative Marvin Pendergrass won a special election last year in the seat that was held by Democrat Seth Whipper for more than 20 years. Representative Rosalind Henderson Myers won a special election for South Carolina Representative Harold Mitchell's seat, District 31 in Spartanburg County, after he resigned last year citing health issues. And Representative Tim McGinnis won a special election last year for the District 56 seat that was held by former Republican Representative Mike Ryle, who resigned in August citing family issues. Now, what we already know is that what's going to be dominating session this year is the VC Summer Plant nuclear debacle. And I caught up with House Utility Ratepayer Committee Chairman Peter McCoy to get more details about what we're going to be seeing moving this year. And his committee is going to be reconvening later to deal with the SCANA Dominion energy deal valued at $14.6 billion.
We're looking at what Dominion has offered to us. There's a potential for us to call our Ratepayer Committee back in and reconvene and put them under oath and take a listen as to what the details of that deal are. Again, what's going to be a non-starter for me is if any part of a deal has to require the ratepayer to continue to pay for this nuclear project, because in essence, to me, all that's doing is changing the name of where we're sending the power bill. So we're going to examine that. As of now, that bill is still on the calendar. There are no plans to recommit that bill to judiciary, so it'll still be there. Again, my concern with a delay, and I think it's good to be deliberative, and I think we should be deliberative because we have to do the right thing on this and we have to get it right the first time. The only issue I have with that, okay, again, with not moving on a bill that we've studied now since August, so for months, is that ratepayers every day now are still paying that 18%. They're still paying that, so we have to provide them relief.
Over in the Senate, lawmakers delved right into the VC Summer debacle. Some Senate leaders and members discussed the intricacies of the boondoggle, while others lamented the fact that the issue will command much attention from other important issues. Senate President Pro Tempore Hugh Leatherman urged caution in moving too fast in repealing current laws or passing new ones, something House lawmakers are ready to do.
I'm asking the VC Summer Senate Special Committee to reconvene to bring Dominion Energy to explain their offer to purchase SCANA and what their offer means to the customers of SCANA and what it means for winding down the VC Summer debacle. In taking action, I hope that we take into account that we need to ensure that we don't hurt our ability to attract and retain business. Those jobs are important to our citizens' futures. I hope we don't do anything to hurt the future of power in our state, because of our ratepayers need to know that when a switch is flipped, that the lights will come on. Finally, we need to make sure that our ratepayers pay no more than electricity than their neighbors do.
Another issue that lawmakers are worried that the VC Summer deal will hold up is dealing with aging school buses. We saw lawmakers deal with the veto from the governor from last year with about $20.5 million for new buses. However, there needs to be a discussion about how to replace current buses going forward. Senator Harvey Peeler over in the Senate expressed some doubt about if lawmakers would have time to do that.
We budget by crisis. We do it every year. That's what we've done every year, year in and year out. Now we've heard the importance of a deliberative body. We are a deliberative body. It's important to deliberate issues. But there's one issue that we've deliberated long enough. I say too long. And that's the issue of getting our children out of these yellow firebombs called school buses that have engines in the rear. If you'll remember, last session, I stood before you and talked about a school bus in Duncan, South Carolina, that caught fire with 56 children on the bus. If you'll remember that, I brought that to your attention. While we were out of session, I understand one of these buses in Anderson County caught fire. I stand here today to tell you that this is one crisis that we can't deliberate on any longer. We must act on this today, Senator from Florence. We must get these yellow fire bombs off the road.
The school bus funding debate was drawn out in the House, where members dealt with the governor's 41 budget vetoes from last year, but initially passed over the 2 vetoes that cut $20.5 million for the new buses. Democrats and Republicans became fired up over the issue when House Minority Leader Todd Rutherford urged House members to sustain the school bus veto, since the Republican-controlled House previously sustained a funding cut for community health centers.
To override the governor's veto, I look like a hero on school buses, but I'm ignoring the plight of many South Carolinians. I'm ignoring the plight of these hospitals that simply do not have time to dedicate to testing people for HIV and AIDS. I'm ignoring the plight of those people that are doing the work that God sent them here to do, to help those that are the least of thee, just so I can look like a hero because I want to replace our ailing school buses. What we are now talking about is essential needs, essential needs. And people come up to you and they say, are y'all going to give us new school buses? We should have done it 20 years ago. We should have done it 20 years ago because our children ride on the same school buses that I did. And that's tragic.
Governor McMaster cut the funding last year because it would come from the South Carolina lottery. He says the lottery was designed just to fund things like scholarships, not school buses.
We'll be able to buy about 250 buses with the money that they just gave us. It's not over. We got to go to the Senate, but we feel very hopeful there as well. But I would say that with this, we still have 350 old buses, 95s. We have 800 buses that are older than that. So this is just a step in the right direction that we're making for South Carolina. But again, I'm so appreciative of the work the General Assembly did today. And I'm certainly going to do everything I can as State Superintendent. We will have an order ready to go just as soon as the Senate votes on this. I hope in the morning we'll have the order in and the buses will be ordered. It takes 4 to 6 months to get those buses back, but we will do our part just as quickly as possible to make sure that our children have a safe ride to and home from school every day.
Wednesday is another busy day at the State House, beginning with a compromise committee meeting that deals with the governor and lieutenant governor running on the same ticket. Now, South Carolina voters approved this measure years ago. However, this bill deals with the mechanics of it going forward. In a conversation with conservationists meeting at 10 a.m. and a Senate education meeting also at 10 a.m. The Senate goes back in at noon and the House in at 2 o'clock. Stick with SCETV as we take you through the 2018 legislative session every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. You can follow along recaps every day on our YouTube page and our Facebook page. For ETV, I'm Gavin Jackson from Columbia.